How are you? Welcome back to my channel. So excited you're here because we're talking about my August reads. Ended up reading 9 books in August and they were all 4 and 5 stars, if you can believe that. It was a really good reading month. And I think that just goes with mood reading and reading things that I am really excited about, and I just know my taste and kind of know what I'm gonna like at this point. My TBR board game is coming back, eventually. I just haven't got it all set up, with my black light and everything. I am gonna eventually get it set up. It's really hard now because I don't have my shelves, but I am eventually gonna get that set back up. I miss it. I had a lot of fun with it, but I've just been mood reading. So, but yeah, 4 and 5 stars, that just goes with me knowing what I like. That's why they're all rated so high this time, and I've read a lot of really good books. Sorry the lighting's weird. It's raining. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's been raining, and which is also why it's also why I have no makeup on. My daughter has cheerleaders, so we're gonna have to get out of the house, go into the rain. And I just thought, why bother? Why even bother with getting myself all fixed up if I'm going in the rain? So anyways, yeah, let's get into the books. These aren't really in any particular order aside from by rating. I'm going to save my 5 stars to the end. Otherwise, they're really not in any particular order. Maybe I'll tell you my digital. I read 2 digital. We'll go with those first, and then we'll get into the physical books. How about that? The first one I read was Carmilla, and I've been wanting to read this one for years. Finally got around to it because I wanted to read this one before I read Hungerstone, and I really enjoyed it. I think this one, I think if I was to reread it, maybe I would rate it higher. It's just, sometimes I had a hard time getting into the writing style of it, and that's just, like I said, I think if I was to reread it, maybe I would rate it higher. Having gone over it once already, I think I could probably get into it more the second time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was nice and gothic. It was very atmospheric and moody and very sensual. Absolutely love the overall tone of it and the twists, and yeah, I loved the mood. I really did. I'm not gonna say too much about it because this is a short book and I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, I definitely, I'm sorry it took me this long to read it. I really enjoyed it. Next one I read was, this one was sent to me by the author, and that is The Shrine by DM Gritzmacher. This is number 6 in the Skullduggery series. It can be read as a standalone. Absolutely, you won't be lost. You can jump right in there. I will say it's more fun to read as a series just because this author is really good at planting Easter eggs and having all these like, if you read the series, you will have all these like aha moments, and that's part of the fun, I think, of reading this as a series. But it can absolutely be read as a standalone. You won't feel lost. He's really good at like putting little hints at what happened in the previous book and stuff without rehashing the entire thing, so that it's not obnoxious for those that have already read it, if that makes sense. So you can absolutely just dive into this one, and I think you would be hooked. If you read this one, I think you would be hooked and you would want to read more of the series. I absolutely do. It was a lot of fun. This book, it absolutely blew my mind. I mean, as soon as I read it, I needed book 7 immediately. Like, I wanted book 7 in my hands right now. It was so good. What I love is that he's throwing in more humor now. Not a lot. It's still definitely horror. It's still definitely dark and disturbing, but there's a little bit of humor thrown in. And I also love there's more female energy in there. There are more female characters, and the female characters in this one, I think, kind of took center stage. I think they kind of took over, and I love that. There's one in particular, Madeline. Like, she's not an overly hilarious character, but she says some of the craziest things. Like, some of the things that she says are so cold. There's this one line where she says, "And they'll be most excellent bait." And she says it, I mean, I could just picture her saying this with the straightest of straight faces, and the men around her losing their minds, and it made me laugh. It was so funny. But for her to be so unbothered by everything, while there's complete and total chaos, was just brilliant to me. It was just absolutely brilliant. I loved her as a character. I thought she was just excellent. She was the most excellent addition to the series. I love her so much. Obviously, I'm not saying a lot of what this is about because it is part of a series. So I'm not saying a lot about what this one is about, just that there is a biblical twist to this. And in this one, what he does is he will take, he always takes like something historical as like inspiration. And I love that. It's always like a historical element. And I think it's really interesting, just something that interests him. And this one has like a biblical twist to it. But there's also, in this one, there's folklore, there's vampires, there are werewolves, there's archaeology, there's body horror. The body horror in this was excellent. But I think my favorite was that there were Frankenstein vibes. But yeah, anybody that enjoys horror, if you enjoy body horror, if you enjoy history elements, if you enjoy like archaeology, it has a lot of archaeology. This whole series has archaeology, and I freaking love that. I love that element to it. I think it's fascinating, but it also feels like an adventure, and that's really fun. Anybody that enjoys those elements, I think you would really enjoy this book and any of the books in the series. I think you'd really enjoy it. After this one, there are supposed to be 2 other books in the series, and this one comes out, well, this one will be out when the video comes out, September 2nd. That's when this book comes out, so just so you know. The next one I read is Toxic Love by Kristopher Triana. You saw this one in my 24-hour readathon vlog, so I'm not gonna go too much into this. Just that this is extreme horror. So, check triggers. Know that this is extreme horror. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't come at me and say, hey, why'd you make me read that? I didn't make you do anything. Yeah, check triggers. This is the most disturbing thing that I've read by Kristopher Triana, I think. It is really messed up. It's really messed up. Lots of really crazy scenes in here. And yeah, it's really deplorable characters, which is what Kristopher Triana is known for. I will link my vlog down below where I talked more in depth about the next 5 books were all in the same vlog. So if you want to know more about these, you can click on that link. But yeah, just know this was nice and dark and disturbing. I really enjoyed it. It was really crazy. So really good. Obviously it was 4 stars. But yeah, the most disturbing thing that I have read by this author. Really great though. I'm gonna flip that one upside down so you don't have to see it. Next up, Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. This one is part 4 in the series. It's manga. I read this in the same vlog, obviously. And yeah, this one is part of the series that involves a toxic mother-son relationship. Not as good as the last one that I read in the series. That one like really took it to the next level. This one wasn't as dark and disturbing as that one. Still really good, but this one left it to the point like I needed to read book 5 immediately. I say that, but then I didn't. But yeah, I need to know where it's going, because the way it left it, I'm like, ooh, okay. Like, I gotta see what happens next. And I will probably, actually, I didn't put it in my TBR for September, but I will probably read it in September because I really need to know what happens. So, yeah. Then we have How to Kill Men and Get Away with It by Katy Brent. This is another one that was really good. And in the same vlog. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. This was layered. It's comedy, yes, but it's layered. It's a lot darker than I expected. Check triggers, because it did have a layer of darkness that I did not expect. And I mean, I don't mind it, obviously, but if you don't expect that, I'm warning you, just check triggers. But yeah, this was fun. I had an absolute blast with it. It was very satisfying. It's exactly what I needed. And the characters aren't particularly likable, but I still really enjoyed it. There were some twists. There were lots of twists here. A couple of them I was able to predict, but a lot of them I wasn't, and I had a really good time with it. Then we have The Butcher Boy by Patrick McCabe. This one was wild. Yeah, this one, so I mentioned in the vlog, I had a hard time getting into the writing style of this. It took me a little bit to the point I almost DNF'd it, but I'm really glad that I didn't. If you read this, I would suggest trying to tough it out because it ended up being very well worth it. It surprised me, left my jaw on the floor, absolutely shocked me in the best way. I won't say how, but like it absolutely blew me away. Left me completely floored. So, yeah, the writing style's it took a bit to get used to because they're like, the sentences kind of run together and there are no quotations, like there are no quotation marks. And so it took me, like I couldn't figure out who was talking and I couldn't figure out what was what because the sentences were all like together. But I think that was intentional because this is from the point of view of this boy, this little boy who is having sort of a psychotic break. And he's just all over the place. And I think that writing style maybe is just so you're in the head of this, you're feeling his, you know, his break, you're feeling his this episode of his, and it's like a gradual thing, this like gradual break that he's having. So I think that's why maybe, but yeah, it took a bit to get used to. I mean, I was like, it was really bugging me, but like I said, tough it out because it's worth it. It ended up being really good. I ended up really enjoying it. But that's the thing that kept it from being between a 4 and a 5 star because I was very confused at first. Really good though. And I won't tell you how it surprised me, but it really did. I really felt for the little boy from the very beginning because he's going through a lot. And yeah, this is, it's nice and dark, but it's kind of like a subtle dark at first, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was really good. Then we have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed. This is in the same reading vlog. But yeah, I was absolutely obsessed with this. It's a love story. Yeah, this isn't the fluffy romance that you're used to. Just so you know, if you go into that expecting just a fluffy romance, you may be disappointed. This may not be the book for you. But if you like your romance a little bit messy with that layer of darkness, this may be the book for you because it is dark. And it's a fluffy romance with a side of darkness, which I love, because I like it to be messy. I like it to be believable. I like my characters flawed. These characters, they had a rough upbringing. They have a rough background. They're doing great now. They're successful now, but they did have a rough upbringing. So it goes back and forth, dual timeline, the now and then their past, their upbringing. So that's where the darkness comes into play. So, you know, this deals a lot with, you know, their upbringing and all that. So, and what happened when they were kids and what happened to make her so mad at him. Because, you know, there's something in the past that has made her mad at him and now he's come back into her life and she's still a little peeved because of what happened back then. And so we're slowly figuring out what happened and, you know, peeling back these layers. But yeah, there was a lot to this. There were a lot of layers to this. And I freaking loved it. I was obsessed with this. The only thing that kept this from being a 5 star was the ending. There were some things that I thought were kind of like mishandled. And I didn't much care for the ending. Did it completely ruin it? Absolutely not. I would still read it again. Still absolutely love it. You know, I wish the ending was handled a little differently. But yeah, I still loved it. What I especially liked was that there was chronic illness rep in this. One of the main characters, Eva, she has an invisible disability. It's one of those things where like she hurts all the time. She's constantly in pain, but nobody else knows about it. You can't see it, but it's there. You know what I mean? I loved that rep. I loved that you got a glimpse into what that's like. And it's something that I think is important, and I love that representation, how it affects her life, how it affects her parenting, how it affects her work, and just how, you know, dealing with doctors and dealing with just like the everyday. That's something that I really appreciated. There was also the double standard. There were double standards in here between men and women in the literary space. There was commentary on, you know, whitewashing in Hollywood. There was commentary on how, you know, Black authors are expected to write their Black characters who can only be suffering. They feel like they can't just write their Black characters enjoying life and enjoying love and enjoying relationships and just living their best lives. They feel like they have to write characters who are suffering in some way, or writing about slavery or things like that. And that's something that I had never thought of before, and that was something that I appreciated being brought to my attention, because it's something that I had never thought of. So I was educated on that front. All in all, I felt like this was absolutely gorgeous. It was beautifully written. It felt emotionally charged, and I mean, it's just, I absolutely loved it. I was obsessed with it. I feel like I could already reread it again. I loved it. And like I said, those last 5 can be found like more fully talked about on the 24-hour reading blog, and I will link it down below. Now the last 2 were my 5-star reads, and you have not heard me talk about them yet. And I can't even pick a favorite because I loved both of them for very different reasons. The first one is The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. First of all, this is set in a very small town in Ohio. One day this man puts out an ad in the newspaper inviting the devil to their town. Well, not too long after that, this little boy, Saul, shows up claiming to be the devil himself, and he's claiming to be there in answer to that invitation. Fielding, who is the son of the man who put the ad out, you know, he's the one that finds Saul, and he brings Saul home and is like, hey, here's the devil. You know, he's here because he found the ad, you know, whatever. And he goes by Saul. And the Bliss family, that's the name of the family with the dad who had put the ad out, they take him in. And they're actually a really sweet family. And the dad's name is Autopsy, of all things. Anyways, so they take this boy in, thinking that he's just a runaway. He's this 13-year-old boy, and they think he's a runaway. But yeah, things go awry very quickly, because several things happen. One, there's a lot of racism in this town, and Saul is a Black boy. 2, a heat wave also starts at the same time, and it's a really, really intense heat wave. 3, it's a very religious town. And then also, all these strange accidents start to occur within the town. So all these crazy things are happening, and it's all seems to have happened when Saul showed up. This book, so first of all, this book absolutely destroyed me, and it ripped my freaking heart out. And I won't even tell you when or how, but it happened several times. Like this, several different instances in this book, like ripped my freaking heart out. And you would just have to read to find out how or when. And but yeah, it absolutely did. It's about it. I think the biggest thing here, well, part of the theme here is, one, how fear brings out the absolute worst in people. I mean, yeah, heat brings out the absolute worst in people too, but really fear is what brought out the absolute worst in people. But this is also about family and loneliness, life, death, loss, love, religion, hate. There's obviously a lot of commentary in here on religion and racism. There's also commentary on homophobia and the AIDS epidemic, because this is set in the 80s. There's a lot of symbolism in here using color that I thought was really clever. I loved this book. This is one that is very quotable. There are a lot of really gorgeous lines in here. So the narrator is going back and forth between the 80s and now as he's telling the story of what happened back then. And it is the most seamless I have ever seen between the past and present. Like, it is done so seamlessly. I've never seen it done so seamlessly ever between two timelines ever. I mean, it's amazing. There's so much I could say. There's so much I want to say to somebody that has already read it, but that's all I'll say because I don't want to give anything away. But there is so much symbolism here. There's so much that could be talked about. This would be a really great book club pick because there's so much that you could talk about, and there's so many different themes that you could explore. It's really, really gorgeously written. It's very, very clever. Yeah, it blew my mind in parts, and it could absolutely change the way you look at some things, for sure. And I thought it was brilliant. And then I finally read Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, and I absolutely love this one as well. Obviously, it's 5-star. This was excellent. This is everything I didn't know I needed right now. It was very satisfying. It was very, very satisfying. Yeah, I now understand what people say when they're talking about female rage when they talk about this book, because I felt it. It was subtle at first. I love the slow build. I love the slow burn. I love the gothic vibes and the slow build up, the slow unraveling. So I don't know if I explained what this was about before, but Lenore and her husband Henry, they come across a wrecked carriage, and that's when they discover Carmilla, and they bring Carmilla back to their house because she's unwell, and she stays there for a bit, and Carmilla brings something out in Lenore. You know, she has Lenore questioning things. She has Lenore questioning, you know, a lot of things. And yeah, Lenore begins to unravel, and that's all I'll really say about that. But this was freaking excellent. Lenore she's the typical of those times. She's the typical like housewife of those times. She's the typical like doting wife, and her husband is the typical like, no, you will do as I say, you will be seen and not heard kind of guy. Like, you know, what's important to him and his career and his, you know, like he's infuriating. He really truly is infuriating. But yeah, and she's just, yeah, she's the typical housewife of that time. And yeah, Carmilla just brings something else out in her, and this was freaking excellent. I love this. I love this. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Loved it. I love the gothic vibes. I love a nice sapphic. I love a nice sapphic romance. I love the feminist angle to this. I love the female rage aspect of this. I love the slow unraveling. I loved everything about this. Okay, I loved everything about this. I need more of this. This vibe, like everything about this vibe, I need more books like this. Like, if you have any suggestions for everything about this vibe, let me know, because this is exactly what I needed, and I had no idea. Like, by the end of this, I was like, yes, finally. But this was freaking excellent, and it was well written. It was a little slower at first, but I didn't mind it. Like, it was really pretty. So I was like, okay. Yeah, it's really pretty. I loved it. That's all I'll really say. I feel like it's one of those, like, I don't want to say too much. You just need to read it. It's really pretty. And that's it. Those are all the books. There were 9 these and then the 2 digital ones. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what was your favorite book that you read in August. I would love to know. And I will see you on Friday for my vlog where I'm reading The Exorcist. Bye for now.